for all the work that I've done on the K-1 and the green card.
I need $5,000 for a divorce lawyer also to go through the divorce.
So all this money adds up to a good $70,000.
No, that's what I want. I want a divorce. I'm done.
He stood in the middle of a singles event, smiling like he had already won, and then casually admitted he was still married. The room did not clap. It froze. He walked into a singles event confident. He walked out realizing confidence is not the same as self-awareness. But what happened next changed how everyone saw him. How do you go to a singles mixer while still legally married and think you are the prize? He did not whisper it. He did not ease into it. When asked how long he had been divorced, he said he was separated. Not divorced. Separated. You could feel the air shift. You know that moment when people are being polite, but their eyes say something else? That was the vibe. And this is where the fantasy started cracking. Now rewind for context. He recently split from Jasmine on 90 Day Fiancé. According to him, he was the wounded husband. She cheated. She embarrassed him. She got pregnant. He tells it like he was blindsided by chaos. In his version, he gave and she took. He loved and she betrayed. Clean. Simple. Except the timeline on screen showed more layers. Permission was given. Lines were blurry. Accountability was shared. Yet in his retelling, he is the victim who survived a storm he did not create. After the breakup, he did what many people do. Gym, spin class, sweat, fresh haircut, new energy. He started saying women find him sexy. He started smiling differently, posting differently, talking like he had unlocked something. But confidence is loud when insecurity is still whispering underneath. He tells us women are sliding into his DMs, lots of them. He says he loves the attention. He says this is his era. And maybe attention feels good after rejection. That part is human. But here's the gap. Attention is not the same as attraction. Politeness is not chemistry. And hype in your head is not validation in real life. So when he walked into that singles event, he did not see a risk. He saw opportunity. Fresh start. Redemption arc. The glow-up phase. He believed he had leveled up. But did he learn anything from his marriage? Are those DMs real interest or digital noise? Why is Natalie suddenly back in the picture? Is this growth or the same pattern with better lighting? He thought this was his comeback season. It turned into something else. After the split, he rebuilt his identity in a spin class. Sweat dripping, music blasting, women cheering him on. And in his mind, that cheering meant something more. A smile became a signal. A high five became desire. A friendly introduction became proof he still had it. He started saying women find him sexy. Not once. Repeatedly. He said his DMs are full. He said the attention feels amazing. He talks about this new wave of interest, like the universe corrected itself. And look, after a public breakup, anyone would want reassurance. That part is human. But here's where perception starts bending. At the gym, people are encouraging. That is the culture. You clap for effort. You hype each other up. But he translates support into attraction. He sees friendliness and upgrades it to chemistry. That leap says more about his hunger for validation than about the women around him. This is where confidence turns into assumption. There is something deeper here. Middle age hits hard for a lot of men. Youth fades. Marriage ends. The mirror feels louder. So when attention shows up, even basic attention, it can feel like oxygen. You start tying your worth to who looks at you, who messages you, who smiles back. He says he does not need those little blue pills anymore. He frames it as proof he was never the issue. He implies the problem was attitude, energy, environment. In his version, change the woman, change the outcome. But the show has receipts. He used medication long before the marriage collapsed. That detail matters. So, is this growth? Or is this ego protecting itself from the sting of rejection? He thinks they want him. But wait until you hear what happens when they ask one simple question. And then someone asked how long he has been divorced. The singles event was supposed to be his reset. Music playing, people mingling, quick introductions, light energy. And then the question landed. How long have you been divorced? He hesitated. Then he said he was still married. Separated, but married. You could almost see the shift in posture around him. Smiles tightened, eyes narrowed. Because at a singles event, that detail is not small. It changes the whole vibe. This was the moment confidence met consequences. Instead of reading the room and pivoting with humility, he leaned into his backstory. He started explaining what happened with his ex. He talked about cheating. He mentioned the pregnancy. He framed it like he had survived betrayal at the highest level, on a first meeting. With strangers. That is a lot to unload in minute 5. Rejection is hard. No one enjoys feeling unwanted. And yes, those women did laugh at certain moments. It looked uncomfortable. But oversharing trauma before basic trust forms pushes people away. When you lead with pain, people wonder if they are about to inherit it. He could have kept it simple, separated, working through it, learning. Instead, he doubled down on the victim story, as if the more dramatic the tale, the more sympathy he would earn. And this is where the tone turned from awkward to painful. He tried to redirect. He asked them what they want in a man. On paper, that is a smart move. But context matters. If you just admitted you are still legally married and then unloaded a cheating storyline, asking what they're looking for feels disconnected from reality. This is projection in real time. External blame. Narrative control. He frames himself as the good guy who was wronged, so any rejection now feels unfair in his head. He calls the whole interaction a disaster. He hints their energy was mean. But pause. Was it mean girl energy? Or was it boundaries? Would you stay in that conversation? The hardest part is watching someone misread signals again and again. The laughter hurt him. You could see it. But instead of reflecting, he labeled it hostility. And after that humiliation, he did not rethink himself. He doubled down somewhere else. After that awkward crash at the singles event, the energy shifts. Suddenly, he is in a grocery store, smiling like he just won custody of his own life. He picks up meat and talks about how he could not buy it before because his wife was vegan. The freedom feels dramatic to him. Steak in the cart equals independence. It sounds small, but for him it is symbolic. Control is back. Choice is back. He narrates it like a victory lap in aisle 5. But small wins can hide bigger blind spots. Then comes the digital confidence. He says women are sliding into his DMs. Lots of them. He lights up talking about it. He loves the validation, the attention, the idea that he is wanted again. And look, social media attention feels good after public rejection. Anyone would feel that rush. But here's the question no one asks out loud. Are these real women? Are they genuine interest? Or is he exaggerating the volume to protect his ego? The show does not verify who is messaging him. We only hear his version. There is a difference between digital curiosity and real-life chemistry. Online, you control the frame. You post your best angles, your captions, your narrative. In person, there is no filter. And this is where hope starts rewriting reality again. Then Natalie re-enters the picture. They reconnected at the tell-all. They started texting. Mostly small talk. Casual. Surface level. No grand declarations. No deep rebuilding of trust. Yet in his mind, this is momentum. Last time they tried, trust shattered fast. He told Natalie he was done with Jasmine. Then social situations proved otherwise. So why would she circle back? What changed? Hope is powerful. After humiliation, the brain searches for repair. A familiar face feels safer than starting over. A second chance sounds better than admitting patterns. And then he packs for a visit. New clothes. Fresh optimism. And yes, he packed sexy underwear. For small talk texting. That is not fantasy. That is footage. If texting is light and casual, why is his expectation already racing ahead? Now the tone shifts. Because this part is not funny. Last time he dated Natalie, he told her Jasmine was out of his life. Then footage showed he met up with Jasmine and even discussed getting back together before Natalie came to visit. That was not a rumor. That played out on screen. Trust cracked in real time. So when he says this time is different, you have to pause. Different how? Words are easy. History is heavier. He talks about intimacy issues from his marriage. He implies the energy, the attitude, the tension made it hard for him. He suggests with Natalie it will be natural, effortless. He even says he does not need medication now, like the past problem belonged to someone else. But the show documented medication use before the marriage fell apart. That detail matters. Not to shame him, not to judge him, but to highlight a pattern. When something goes wrong, the explanation often sits outside of him. And this is where accountability becomes the real test. Growth is not saying you changed. Growth shows up in different choices under pressure, in how you handle uncomfortable questions, in what you do when ego feels threatened. Natalie agreeing to meet him again raises a bigger question. Does she know the full timeline? Does she see the same pattern viewers see? Or is she hoping the distance created clarity? If someone lied once publicly, would you trust again? Hope can be generous. Hope can also ignore red flags. And he seems confident he will handle this better. Yet watch closely. He circles back to Jasmine in conversation often. The name slips out. The story resurfaces. The past stays alive. That is the part that worries people. Not that he failed before. Everyone fails. It is that the script in his head rarely changes. Because when the pressure rises, patterns reveal themselves. And after everything, one truth hangs in the air. Some people do not sabotage on purpose. They sabotage on autopilot. Zoom out for a second. Strip away the gym scenes, the grocery store smiles, the DMs, the flirty confidence. What are we watching? We are watching delusion collide with reality in slow motion. On one side, he sees himself as the comeback story, the desirable bachelor, the misunderstood husband who survived chaos. On the other side, real life keeps handing him feedback. Women pull back, conversations stall, trust questions surface. And instead of absorbing that feedback, he reframes it. Inflated self-image is not loud arrogance all the time. Sometimes it is quiet denial. It is telling yourself you are ready while skipping reflection. It is calling rejection bad energy instead of information. And this is the part that separates growth from ego. Aging is hard. Divorce is hard. Public rejection on television is brutal. Anyone would feel bruised by that. Anyone would want to rebuild confidence quickly. So yes, there is empathy here. Reinventing yourself after a failed marriage takes courage. But self-awareness is free. It does not require a gym membership. It does not require new underwear. It requires honesty. Confidence feels attractive. Reflection makes it stable. Without reflection, confidence turns into overconfidence. Overconfidence turns into misreading signals. And misreading signals leads to humiliation that feels shocking only to the person who ignored the signs. This entire arc has been building to one uncomfortable truth. Confidence without reflection becomes cringe. And next time, when Natalie responds in her own way, the fantasy might crack completely.